Hmm. Bintu Agne, hi, how are we? How are we? Nice to see you. Happy Friday, everybody. TGIF. How glad are we all that it's Friday. Hi from Newfoundland, Canada. That's wonderful. I love that. I love that so many people are able to join from all different parts of the world and that we're able to gather here and go into the weekend, I hope, inspired, elevated, feeling as though we're in community, connected. I love that. Oh, Shriver Liz. I'm a Shriver too. Hi, Shriver Liz. Nice to know that. Hi from Boston. Oh, great. Hi from Ottawa, Canada. Hi from freezing Connecticut. Hi from Michigan. Love Michigan. Love. It's rainy here in LA. No sunny LA. Rainy, cold. But today the restaurants get to open back up here in LA. So that's a big deal. Big deal. I'm really happy for all the restaurant owners. My kids said they're going to go out to dinner, so that's great. Hi from Texas. Hi from Stafford, Virginia. Hi from Queens. Oh, terrific. Hello from St. Louis. Love that. Miami. Love that. Scottsdale. Oh, it's probably beautiful weather in Scottsdale. I love Scottsdale. I went when I was little. Several times. My dad loved Scottsdale and took us when I was little. Austin, Texas. Love Austin. Everybody from California is moving to Austin, but I love Austin. We just did a profile in the Sunday paper on a woman who's making beautiful chocolates in Austin. Great cookie companies in Austin. Great all kinds of companies in Sarasota, South Florida. Oh, great. Churches, really good question. My church is not opening. I should double check that with my Monsignor, but I don't think they're opening this weekend. But restaurants are, and so many have been struggling. And hair salons are reopening, which is great for all of the incredible men and women who are working in that space. So that's excited about this new partnership we're doing with the Food Network. The Food Network is partnering with the Sunday paper to highlight chefs who are moving humanity forward. Chefs feed our hearts, they feed our souls, but they also feed our minds. And every Sunday on the Sunday paper, we share a great Sunday paper chef. And we also share a meaningful conversation starter with the hope that it will help you talk to people who are at your table and in a small way, move us towards common ground and move humanity forward. And so I'm so excited that we get to start with Michael Symon. He is an incredible chef. My son, Christopher, who is the foodie in our house, was like beside him that I get to talk to Michael Symon. He's like, oh my God. So I'm really thrilled. There, look at that.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I love your top. It looks fantastic.
Well, thank you. This is a hand-me-down. My daughter was cleaning her closet, and she goes, this will look good on you, Mommy. So there you go. So thank you. It's my first time wearing it. Hand-me-down.
Yeah, see, it works in reverse. Like, I used to always give Kyle things, and now I steal them from him. It's perfect.
It's perfect. I was just thinking of that when I put this on. I was like, how lucky am I to have daughters? I don't, because they just give me the stuff that comes out of their closet. And I'm like, oh, good, that's great. So I can pull it up. Or she's like, it's too conservative for me, but it's just right for you. So
perfect.
There you go. So Michael, I'm so excited to be meeting you this way. I'm so excited that the Sunday paper is partnering with the Food Network because I think I really believe that chefs move humanity forward. I believe that chefs not only feed our hearts and our tummies and our souls, but that the kitchen and the food that you all cook for us and for everybody, and I'm talking about on a global scale, really does change how we feel about one another. It impacts the conversations that we have in our kitchens and in our tables. So I'm so happy to be doing this with you. and because I know you really also share that mission, right?
Yeah, I mean, very excited to be a part of it. So thank you for having me. The interesting thing about food to me, and one thing I learned at a very young age is, I come from a family. My mother is Greek and Sicilian, so food's obviously a very big part of her upbringing, and my father is Eastern European from up in the Carpathian Mountains. But so I always felt the interesting thing about food is one, like when I was growing up, we sat down, had dinner every night as a family. It was just a
Yeah.
given. My mom cooked dinner every night, and it was the time of the day that you sat down, you discussed your day, what happened, good, bad, and different. I used to say, when you have a Greek Sicilian mother, at the table, we would laugh, scream, and cry, but that could be any emotion. All those are kind of the same. Like, it's very hard to tell
Same
which
with
one is
Irish
different.
people.
Yes,
Laugh, scream, cry, throw something
all
down.
the same. Yeah, everything's the same. But as I started, as you start to get a little bit older, and you realize, like, your friends are different ethnicities, you learn so much about people by the food, not only by sitting down and breaking bread with them, but by the dishes that they eat. And it really kind of helps you tell a story, where they're from, why the food is the way it is. And I think it makes you learn so much about not only an individual, but a culture.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was one of the things that was so magical about food.
That's so true. I love that but when you sit down, not only what people eat and not only the gift of giving the food, but that the conversation that can happen at the Sunday paper, we really believe in trying to that conversations can bring us together, and that the kitchen table and the kitchen are the place where we can kind of listen in a
Hmm.
different way, hear perhaps differently than we would in the office, or certainly listening to the news. How
Right.
have you seen people, Michael, come together in the kitchen at the table through food?
Well, it's funny, like with all the politics and everything else these days, I came from a family where my mom and dad had different political opinions, and they used to talk about it all the time. But it was never a place where they would yell or scream about it. They would discuss it
Yeah.
and agree to disagree, and I think that was one of the great things about the table. I think one of the things that's, hard sometimes in life nowadays is we don't always agree to disagree. And I think the closer we get to that, probably the quicker that we'll heal as a country and heal as individuals. And we just, not everybody's right and not everybody's wrong. Life doesn't work that
Right.
way. You're right and you're wrong often, and you have to listen to other people's opinions to get there. And I, like everybody else, I've been at fault with that too. You just you get stuck in your own head sometimes, and you just want to believe that you're always right, and that's just not reality.
Well, I love that you said your parents had different political opinions. Our kids grew up with a dad who was Republican and a mom who was a staunch Democrat, and from a very Democratic family. And so they heard families with different points of view and people with different points of view, but it was always respectful. It was
100%.
always interesting. It was always like, that's a good point. I could learn from that. I could evolve from that. And there are always things, and I learned a lot because I served as a Democratic First Lady in California in a Republican administration. So I had to check my bias at the door. And I ended up eventually re-registering as an independent, because I thought, really the way forward, how we move humanity forward, is by dropping labels and trying to listen in a different way and hear in a different way. And that's always been the mission of the Sunday paper, right? To inspire hearts, open minds, nurture souls, and move us forward. Now, I cannot cook. I cannot
I don't
cook.
believe it. I don't believe it.
I swear to God. My son, Christopher, he's an incredible chef.
Yeah, your kids love food.
Yeah, I love food. I love food. And when you were saying you learn a lot about a person by what they eat, I think, what do you learn about someone who loves potato skins or who loves comfort food? That you have, are you going to cook for us? You're doing chicken wings or something, or are you?
Well, we put some
have the
chicken wings.
recipe.
Yeah, we put some chicken wings up
Great. For
on
Super
the
Bowl.
Food Network app for the Super Bowl. There's something that
Great.
we did on Food Network Live, I think, that really work well. They're easy for people. Like, believe me, I am someone that loves the fried chicken wing. But we did a baked version because it's a little bit easier to do at home. You don't have to figure out what to do with the oil. But we showed you how to do a version that gets super crispy, like a fried one. But as opposed to being fried, it's baked. So,
So that's
like if
healthier for you.
yeah, allegedly. I mean, but I think this when it's Super Bowl Sunday, I
Yeah.
just don't think I'm really worrying too much about health food. You know, like when you say, what do you learn about someone that loves baked potato skins? To me, I say, oh, that's somebody that's very fun. You know, someone
Oh,
that's going to eat a loaded potato skin, they're a fun person. You know, you know that they're ready to have a good time, and that's what life is about.
I love that. I'm gonna use that because I eat potato skins, pigs in a blanket, chips and guac. My kids are always like, "You're so unhealthy," and now I'm gonna say I'm just fun. I'm
I'm
just
just
fun.
fun, exactly.
Life is fun. Life, we're here to move each other forward. We're here to listen. We're here to gather. Now, I know you're a restaurant owner, and I was just talking before you came on, Michael, that here in Los Angeles, all the restaurants have been closed, and today they're opening back up. We've um, changed our standing, so to speak, in the state.
Yeah.
I know you had to close a restaurant. How has this pandemic been for you as a restaurant owner, and what advice do you have for political leaders who open them, close them, tell them
You
to put
know,
it outside, don't tell them to put it outside?
it's been a hard time, and I think we have restaurants all over. We have restaurants in Ohio, Vegas, Atlantic City, Philly, DC, and in Pennsylvania. So we're seeing how it's being handled differently throughout the country.
Yeah.
And I truly believe is in Ohio, Governor DeWine is the person in Ohio that leads the charge, and he's done the best job that he knows how to. Like, everyone's trying to do their best, and that's what I try to tell people all the time. When other chefs and restaurateurs and people like sometimes get frustrated, whether you're in New York and the rules are one way, or Ohio the rules are another, or Vegas another. Everyone's doing what they feel is best for their community. The It's been incredibly difficult. I mean, we closed Lola, which my wife and I opened Lola 24 years ago.
Wow.
And we were fortunately profitable and successful for 24 years. And because due to the pandemic, we closed it for good. And to see it end that way was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for me, for Liz, for our partner Doug, for our staff, for people. It just all the way around incredibly heartbreaking. But you kind of go through this wave of emotion. You're upset, you're angry, you're sad, you're all these things.
Yeah.
But you realize that everyone's dealing with the same things that you're dealing with, and everyone's trying to do their best job to get through a territory that has been uncharted. It's an uncharted territory. We don't understand it or know it, or I certainly wish there could have been, and will be more help from the federal government with restaurants and small businesses, because I think they've really taken a giant hit. And I hope that, like all of us, have learned a lot of lessons, I think, through this pandemic.
What have you
Hope,
learned? What have you learned?
I've learned patience. Um, I've learned that, my wife and I have been together for almost 30 years, and we've worked in the restaurants together for the majority of that time. So we spent a lot of time together over those 30 years, sometimes 24/7. But being locked in a house with someone for that amount of time certainly gives you less space than in a restaurant where, in the restaurant, if she's mad at me, maybe I'll go talk to a table, or she'll go talk to a table, or I'll go back in the kitchen, or she'll get someone a bottle of wine. When you're sitting in your house and you're mad at each other, there's not as many things to disrupt you. And you can only watch TV shows so many times. Fortunately for us, our granddaughter, we have a 2-year-old granddaughter who lives about 2 miles away.
Oh, wow.
And we kind of were quarantined, being safe as a group together. And that helped a lot, because at 2 years old, the world is perfectly normal to her. So when she comes over, it helps. But I've learned patience. I've learned, continuing to learn. I'm right less than I always thought maybe I was. And I always thought that I was a decent listener, but I think I've become a better listener. And I learned a lot of lessons actually right in the beginning of this, the very first day that they shut down in New York. I was on my way to Food Network studio to film, and they shut the studios down. So like get in the car, go back, getting through the tunnel, I called David Zasloff, who,
Yeah.
runs Discovery, and said, I have Olivia with me who does my social and so forth. So I could probably do some content at home. And in 2 days, we started filming a show out of my house,
Right.
and we did it for 47 straight days on Food Network's Facebook page. We just call it Simon's Dinners. And I actually learned so much during that too. I learned the show was live, so it was we could talk to the viewers constantly. And sometimes as a chef, obviously I've been working with food my whole life, but you become a little bit numb to what everyone is going through.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when the pandemic hit and nobody could get maybe all the ingredients they wanted, or things were limited in grocery stores, all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's made me more aware of my surroundings a little bit. And, so.
That's beautiful, actually.
Yeah. And
You
it was
learned
neat.
also, you learned how much you had in common, right? How much you were
Absolutely.
experiencing humanity. I think that's what, when we talk about on the Sunday paper, we talk about the chefs giving us conversation starters, giving us a recipe, but that the point being is to gather and to find our common ground, to find our common humanity. And we can all, I think we've all been shifted and rocked and moved, and people in all different ways, right? But that you were like, whoa, I'm learning new things, and I'm still in the same business.
Exactly. And it was like funny because people was like, oh my God, you're doing this every day. It's like my relief. It helps me so much. And I told all of them, it's helping me as much as it's helping you. It's like, it's helping give me clarity, and to be on here every day and doing something that I love to do, and seeing people cooking along with you, and not being so chef, like, a lot of times as a chef, like whatever, people go, could I substitute this for that? And you're like, well, I gave you the recipe. Why are you substituting? But then you start realizing, oh my gosh, of course you can. Like, we can't find everything that we want now, and I'm like, oh, you don't have, whatever, cannellini beans, use kidney beans, use chickpeas, use whatever. Like, we're going to get through this. It's okay, and it kind of regrounded me, I think. Not only not as a chef, but as a person. It makes you realize how fortunate you are. It makes you realize how tough some people have it in many different manners. It doesn't have to be financially. It could be in a lot of different ways with, things they can eat, can't eat, allergies, this, that, the other thing. But like doing that show live like that and having that rapport with the viewer, that immediate response, I think was it was a great learning experience for me.
I think also I was talking to a business owner the other day, and he said to me, I learned how really unimportant I am, actually. He said, I learned that my business went on whether I came in the office or not. I learned that the people who worked with me had it in ways that I didn't know before. I learned a lot more about people who I'd been working with my whole life that I didn't know about their lives. I didn't know about their lives. So, and I think that many people have seen food in a different way during this pandemic. We see the food lines going into the food pantries, food banks all over this country. We see chefs feeding healthcare workers. We see families gathering. I've spoken to a lot of particularly guys who find themselves at home for the first time saying, I'm eating at the table every night as a family, and I haven't done that in 5 years or 10 years, or I'm helping cook dinner, and I wasn't doing that before. So roles have shifted. And so really, I know we are always hearing that we're so divided, and I see that in the numbers, but I don't believe it in my heart.
I don't either. I think that if you go to extremes on either side, there's divisions. I mean, it is what it is. But like when I look at all my friends that I grew up with, I have friends for 40 plus years, and we all have different opinions on things. We all still get along. We're all still best friends. We argue, we fight, we disagree, but at the end of the day, we hug each other and we love each other like we always have, and we all have each other's backs.
Beautiful.
And I think that's how people are in general. I think sometimes, the media wants to focus on the extreme as opposed to all the great stuff that's happening in the middle. That's why I love what you're doing, because you're focusing on the good. It's easy to focus on the bad. It's people want to. Unfortunately, it's we're all guilty of it, myself included. You get on your computer or on your phone, you always click on the story that's like, wow, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
But I think what you just said, Michael, is so important, that it's easy to focus on the bad. People think, oh, it's easy, or it's Pollyannish, or it's naive to focus on the good. It's really hard to stay above the noise. It's really hard to find voices that want to move us forward and who want to also be above the noise. And so it's not, it takes concentrated intention and focus and mission, because it's easy, as you say, to go get someone who'll scream and yell, and you'll get a lot of people and everybody like, oh my God, oh my God. But to kind of do the steady work, to stay the course, to look at it as a marathon, right?
Yeah.
And to find people who are using their voices to lift others up. That's the space that I think the majority of us want to be in. And it's the space that the media doesn't focus on that much. And that's why I'm so glad to be talking to you, to be partnering with the Food Network, to elevate the voice of the Sunday paper and elevate the voices of people all across this country, of all ages, by the way, and all political parties who want to rise above and say, come on, let's find our way forward. Let's, I always say, gather in the open field. Let's eat together, laugh together, respectfully disagree, and be there for one another.
Yeah, because I think the majority of people will, if the majority of people see someone in need, they're going to help that person in need.
Yeah.
And for anyone to think differently just because, of religion or politics or whatever, it's just, I don't see that being the truth. Like, you see someone laying on the ground in pain, you intuitively, most people are going to go over and help that person. And that's really what it's all about.
We're all sinners and we're all saints in progress, but we're not all chefs. We're not all chefs.
But you all could be. You all could be.
Okay. We're going to put Michael's recipe in the Sunday paper, and we can all try it. We can all, even those of us that don't cook. I do make birthday cakes. I do cut those, cookies that come, where you just cut them up.
Cookie and soup.
I'm that kind of a chef. I'm that kind of a cook. But that's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to, kind of pick it up in the kitchen, pick it up. So I'm so glad to be in connection now with you. I'm going to try your recipe.
Please do.
Try it.
There's a lot of easy ones out there, whether they're on, the app, the Food Network app, Food Network shows, the Discovery Plus. There's so many things out there. I think that you could find something that's just right and perfect for you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna send you a bunch of cookbooks. When I get off this with you, I'll find out where to send them, and I'm going to send you a bunch of books, and you're going to be all good.
I'm going to be all good. Well, Michael Symon, thank you so much. Food Network, we're glad to be in partnership with you. Bravo to you for all that you're doing, keeping us above the fray, keeping us above the noise, giving us hope. And we thank you for the way you're living your life and for being in partnership with us.
Thank you for having me. And I could say in this household, my wife and I, Liz, are both big fans. So thank you for always being you and all that you've done. And have a wonderful day. It is great to see you.
Thank you, Michael. God bless.
Bye-bye.
How great is that? A recipe that I can do. I'm so excited. I want to have a Super Bowl party, even if it's virtual. Probably can't have my usual Super Bowl thing. I'll have to eat all the pigs in the blanket and the chicken wings myself, but that's okay. But anyway, we're super glad at the Sunday Paper to be partnering with the Food Network to highlight chefs who are moving humanity forward, who are helping us gather and find common ground. So if you don't subscribe to the Sunday Paper, please do. And what a joy to talk to somebody that upbeat that positive, and who shares the idea. I love the idea that you can sit at the table, respectfully disagree, laugh, cry. That's how I grew up. That's how my kids grew up, hearing different political opinions. Everybody got up and then went in the room and played a game. So that's the mission. That's the vision of the open field. That's the mission of the Sunday paper. It's to inspire your heart, open your mind, nurture your soul, publish news and voices that rise above the noise, and whose mission is to move humanity forward, one person, one story at a time, right out into the open field. So join us, be in community with us, and let's make it better out there. Let's make it better out there for everyone. We all need it better out there. So what recipe? The recipe will be in the Sunday paper. It's chicken wings, and I don't know how to make it, but he does, and he'll explain it, and it's in the Sunday paper along with so many other great recipes. So Stephanie Conley, I'm a proud believer in that mission. Good for you, Stephanie. Thank you for being a proud believer in that mission, as am I. Yeah, I mean, really, I'm at the point in my life where, like, what else is there, right? If we're not here to raise each other up, why are we here? We're here to do that specifically. So, and don't ever doubt your power to do that, because certainly every single one of us are here for a specific reason, and we're all here to help each other out. Really, truly, 100%. So have a great weekend, TGIF, and God bless. Take care. Bye-bye. There.